Hey, y'all. This is Frank the Bigfoot, and you're listening to the Paranormal Punchers.
Hey, friends. Welcome to Paranormal Punchers. I'm Mark.
I'm Alicia.
I'm Nash.
And on this episode, we are going to talk about the Green Children of Woolpit.
Woolpit.
This was a topic suggestion from Cass from Moo Duck. And we're doing this because Cass just got engaged.
Yep.
She did. She did. Congratulations, Cass.
So this episode is for you, Cass.
You go, girl.
But that's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, definitely. Welcome to a life of bondage and not being listened to.
What?
What?
Wow.
Is your wife listening to this episode?
I have no idea. I don't think so. She doesn't listen to anything I say anyway, so why would she listen to this?
Oh, and no Dave. Dave's just getting over being sick. Dave, unfortunately, got sick halfway through his vacation.
Yeah.
So Dave needs another vacation.
A vacation from his sick vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. This should be fun. Something a little extra. Not only do we have our main topic, but we have, for the very first time, we have a Dear Rhonda.
Yep.
That would be the official psychic medium, Paranormal Punchers, Rhonda Del Baccio. We actually had a listener who had a paranormal problem,
Okay.
and so they sent me a letter about it. I sent it to Rhonda, and Rhonda,
She answered.
she
Yep.
answered.
Wow. Nice.
Just like the A team. Or in this case, the P team.
That
doesn't-
Oh, yeah. No, I don't know about that, but okay.
Yeah.
I see where you're going.
We got that. We got a story, a listener story. So a lot of fun. Hope you're having an awesome day. And, you know, our shows drop on Tuesday. So technically, this also could be Taco Tuesday
Oh, yeah.
for
Oh,
you.
yeah.
So I'm just hoping you're having an awesome day. All right. You guys ready to jump into this?
I could go for some tacos.
I know, right? That's what I'm having for dinner tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Gonna make chicken tacos on with corn tortillas. Not the hard shells, the soft shells.
Yeah. That's what my wife likes. She likes the corn tortillas. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. We just had those at our friend Nikki's birthday. They had some corn tortillas. I usually use flour.
Yep.
Now I'm addicted.
To the corn tortillas.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a little. It adds a little extra flavor.
Now I know what to get you for Christmas.
What, a pack of corn tortillas?
No, a corn tortilla maker.
Oh.
I'm telling you, it'll elevate the game big time.
That sounds like so much extra work.
It's not though. It's like next to no work.
Really?
It's amazing. Yeah.
We are going to kick off this episode.
Corn tortillas brought to you by Paranormal Punchers.
If you're a tortilla maker, we would like you to be our sponsor.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
As always, we're going to start things off with listener feedback. This time around, brought to you by Parabox Monthly. Just go to paraboxmonthly.com. Use code PPunchers. You'll save yourself 10% off your subscription. And like I said, their T-shirts are awesome. Killer designs. I have one. I'm going to order another one. And go check them out.
When do those boxes normally drop?
They're monthly.
Are they?
Yeah.
So is it like mid-month, beginning of the month?
That is a fine question. If you
Yeah.
go to our website, you'll find out. You know, I'm not sure.
Okay.
It is definitely monthly, and there's a certain time you got to get in.
There's like a cutoff time.
There's
to
a
order.
cutoff time.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
you got it. Yeah, why is the dog going crazy
I don't know
over
what
there?
she's doing.
She is longing for her boyfriend, Dingo.
Dingo, if you're listening.
You can hear her. Yeah. Oh, look at her. She just laid down.
Yeah.
She's happy now. We said the name. That's all she needs.
Nash gave her a biscuit when he got here, and she's not been the same since.
That's right.
Here we go with listener feedback, everybody. We heard from, well, this is actually a 5-star review.
Nice. Wow.
On Apple Podcasts from Misfit Rebel. I have listened to these guys and chick from basically the beginning. It was a tad rocky at first, but not a major disaster. What brings me back is their take on the stories. Facts. Where we're going, we don't need facts.
That's right.
A podcast that actually listens to the people who rate and review them. Excellent concept. I love hearing the theme for the night and the slight derailment that sometimes comes but quickly goes. Hey, it happens. But with all the jokiness aside, they do a great job at telling stories and having a good time. You can hear the sincerity in their podcast. Don't change a thing. Keep it up and cheers.
Oh.
Cheers, my friend.
Misfit Rebel, I love you.
Yeah, slight derailment, though. Did you hear that? So after all the times we've gone off the rails, that's just a slight derailment. Yeah. Yeah. And we quickly get back on. So, well, there could be a judgment call in there because sometimes we're way off the radar. But thank you all the same.
All right. We heard from Michelle. That would be Michelle from Lewistown, Printworks.
Oh, nice.
And she has a book recommendation. She says, hey, guys, I need to tell you about this book. This book was on my wish list for years, but it was $300.
Oh, my gosh.
Due to only being pressed once. Well, it's being pressed again, and it's on Amazon for $13. So I'm waiting for my copy. The book is called The Vertical Plane by Ken Webster. And Michelle says, this is a recount of a true and insane story of Ken Webster that involves communications through time, past, and future. So many details, but definitely check it out. Yeah. She said, check it out online for a better description because it's a rabbit hole.
Oh, boy.
It's
Wow.
incredible and may involve alien communication.
Oh, boy.
Is that like a Montauk thing?
I don't know.
That sounds, I don't know.
The book is called The Vertical Plane by
Okay.
Ken Webster. Michelle, thanks for the recommendation. Anybody out there listening that's in the books, check it out. If you do read it, let me know. Maybe we'll read it ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Liz, you are...
We do have a group reader
Yeah.
of the things that are on paper.
When I saw this come up, I was like, this sounds like it's right up my alley.
Yeah,
So-
totally. I think that's a great idea. Then you can summarize for us, and I'm more like cartoons, and if the keys rattle, I go, "Oh my gosh, what is that?" So being into a book takes me a little.
So you
bit of
won't
time.
be reading the book?
If it has pictures,
Or do I need to read it to you?
give me the Cliff Notes version of it? If there's a Cliff Notes and an illustrated guide, that's more my speed.
Okay.
Yeah.
On Instagram, we heard from the Intergalactic Kegger.
Nice.
Right?
Right.
This was in response to a post that we made about Ape Canyon, which is last episode. And the Intergalactic Kegger said, yeah, and now the jackasses with the National Park Service have the guys telling people that it never happened and that this was a group of kids from the Boy Scout troop. What a load of shite.
Of poo.
Okay.
So I guess the Intergalactic
they're blaming it
Kegger,
on-
they're blaming it on Boy Scouts.
On the
And,
Boy Scouts?
So the Boy Scouts throwing rocks at this cabin.
That's pretty hardcore to blame the Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
That's pretty. I mean, they're not going to really defend themselves. They're Boy Scouts. Wow. Pick a subject where you can. Pick a group of people that they're not going to be able to respond to that.
Right.
My goodness. Oh, that poor Boy Scouts. I was a Boy Scout back in the day.
You were?
Yeah, I was. We used to like whittle stuff. And
How many badges did you get?
I didn't go very far. Because I got to a point where I was like, you know what? Nintendo really deserves most of my time. Yeah.
There wasn't a badge for that?
No. Okay. I wish there was, but there wasn't. But to blame the Boy Scouts.
I thought maybe you got to their brewing badge. You're like,
That would be
the
awesome.
Boy Scouts. I'm going to start making beer.
That would make sense.
Yeah, that makes sense a lot.
Yeah.
We heard from Christina. I'm so ashamed. I know. I'm behind on a couple episodes. Things have been chaos as usual here, and my dog ate my earbuds,
Oh, no.
which is how I like to listen. But I still love y'all, and I'll get caught up as soon as I can. Keep it weird, y'all. You don't need to be ashamed. It's okay to get behind a little bit.
Yeah.
I know everybody's life is chaotic at times and busy.
Well,
remember, we're always here for you.
We're always here, and you could just turn up the volume really, really high, and then just lay on your dog, snuggle with your puppy, and you'll hear us.
Wait, turn the volume up really high and let your dog snuggle with your puppy. That's what you just said, right?
I meant like lay down with your dog, like just snuggle with your puppy, because then you put your head on your puppy's like tummy, and you can hear us. There you go.
I was going to say, hey, keep the earbuds away from your dog.
That is, of course, Plan B.
Christina, I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much. And yeah, maybe one day your dog can come over here and keep my dog entertained while we do the podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
On Twitter, people are still using Twitter.
Yep.
We heard from Erie Adam. He said, synchronicity at its finest. Found something to watch for a short time on Shudder. Picked Spookers, a show about a haunt park in an old asylum in New Zealand. Then he went to work and listened to an old archive P-Punchers episode about Momo.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. The viewer mail talks about the same haunt in New Zealand. So, boom.
Yep.
Erie Adam, I like your name. And thanks for listening to the show, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
And I'm going to wrap this up with a message from our bud, Sean Z. That's Sean Z. But I think from now I'm just going to be like, Sean Z. What's up, Sean Z? Well, he says, what's up, punchers? Sean Z here again with another suggestion. I look back through the catalog of episodes, and I think I have an obvious one. The White House.
Okay.
So many different sightings throughout the long history of our fine nation. Heck, by the time you get around to it, it could make for a cool 4th of July episode. Just kidding. Summer Wind was well worth the wait. But seriously, 4th of July episode? And I also have a story for you guys, which we're saving for the second half of the show.
All right.
Now, just to address Seanzy. Yeah, no, he might. Yeah, it might take us till next July to get to that topic, so that would be perfect.
The White House, huh?
The White House.
Yeah.
Well, there are a lot of ghouls and spooks there, and
I don't know. There's a lot of history, a lot of things happen there, so yeah, it could be haunted.
it's been there for quite a while, so quite maybe, yeah.
Right.
Right.
Thank you, everyone. If you want to send us your feedback, just go to paranormalpunchers.com. You'll find our little sign-up form. What do you call that thing? Send us information or paranormalpunchers@gmail.com. We love to hear from you. We love topic ideas. We love suggestions, so thank you. Now.
It's time.
It is time for our main topic, and this is when I turn it over to the illustrious Alicia.
Oh, thank you. So, the Green Children of Woolpit.
Again, Cass, thanks for the topic suggestion. Here we go. This is happy engagement paranormal
thing.
topic.
Yeah.
So this is about two children that had an unusual skin color, and they appeared in the village of Woolpit in Suffolk, England, sometime in the 12th century.
Okay.
So their story, it was a boy and his sister. They were found by some workers, some reapers that were working their fields at harvest time.
Reapers?
Yeah, I was going to say
I know.
reapers.
That's what it said.
One
They were
who
called
reaps the
reapers.
grain, reaps the
Right, because
harvest.
they actually are using like a sickle, like the Grim Reaper.
Because I was like,
Right?
wow, that would be awesome.
Could you imagine? Yeah, you're like, there's just Grim Reapers in the field.
I imagine it like post-apocalyptic, lots of metal, face masks, evil reapers, oh geez, I can't even think of the movie now. Anyway, Go ahead. Sorry.
Good job.
Yeah.
We're sorry for interrupting.
Serenity.
So soon. Serenity was a great movie.
Yeah, with
I
the
enjoyed
Reapers.
it.
They had Reapers.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
No,
see?
they were Reavers.
Oh, gosh. You're right. You're
Get
right.
it right,
Oh, my
Nash.
gosh. I'm sorry. Anyway.
We should never have interrupted Alicia. Alicia, can you help us start this again?
All right. So these two kids, they were found by the workers near some ditches that had been dug out, excavated to trap wolves.
Right, and that's the name of the town is Woolpit.
Yeah.
But it kind of stems from wolf pits.
Yeah.
Now, how bad is the wolf situation that you got to dig pits around your town
know.
to trap these suckers? And again, I'll state, one-on-one, a human cannot beat a wolf. Norm, if you're listening from Funk, you can't win in a fight against a wolf. They're huge and they're vicious.
Yeah, I imagine like they have like stakes at the bottom, so like the wolf will like drop
Like a pit
in.
trap.
Like a
Dungeons
deadfall.
and Dragons,
like
yeah.
like a deadfall, yeah.
But anyway, so they look like normal children, but what was odd about them is that their skin was tinged with a green hue. Their clothes were made from an unfamiliar material, and their speech was unintelligible to the workers. Like they were speaking another language that they didn't understand. So the workers, they took them to the village, and then they were eventually accepted into the home of a local landowner. His name was Sir Richard DeCane. Just to give you that info, okay?
Thank you.
The children were starving,
Right.
okay? But any food that was brought to them, they would not eat it.
Okay.
So it took a couple days before they brought some beans, and they were raw beans.
Green beans?
No,
No, it was-
they were called broad beans,
Yeah,
which
broad.
is actually fava beans.
Right there. Nice. With a nice Chianti.
Right. So that was the only thing that these kids would eat. Okay.
I just realized that if Christina's listening to this show with earbuds,
Yeah.
that Hannibal Lecter slurping you just did, that's got to creep her out pretty bad.
Yeah.
And back on topic.
But yeah, they brought these beans in because they were like, well, this is like a last ditch effort. They won't eat anything else that we bring them. These kids just devoured them. Now, these beans, they ate them for months, and it was just beans. They wouldn't touch anything else.
Okay. I have a question for you.
Okay.
Because beans are the magical fruit.
I know. Well, it's protein and everything too, right?
I'm just saying, months. I mean, I have a slight reaction when I have some baked beans, just a little serving of it for dinner. They ate it for months.
Yeah, for months.
Oh my gosh, that house must have been like nearly ready to explode with so much methane in there. I mean, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's a lot.
Did you
Yes,
really survive on
beans.
fava beans alone?
You might be able. There's
mean,
proteins
it's
and
protein.
carbohydrates, and
Yeah.
I guess you could. I mean, but the fiber alone.
oh, you'd have been clearly worked out. You know what I'm saying?
But eventually they did like start eating some bread and things like that. So like it took them a couple months. Okay. But they finally started eating some other stuff besides beans. The boy, he became depressed and sick, and he eventually he died.
Now, but isn't that from what I came across was that they were eating the beans and they slowly, gradually started eating regular foods. But then did they lose their coloration?
Yeah.
Their green hue
Went away.
went away when they were introduced to a whole bunch of varieties.
Right.
Yes.
Foods.
Yeah.
Yeah, they eventually lost their green tinged skin.
Then he kicked.
Yeah, well, so I saw a couple different things, and I'm not sure which one to believe, but they were baptized, and then the boy died. And then I saw another one, the boy died, and then they baptized the girl. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it. It might just be like a random nugget of
Yeah, where are you
info.
going with that? Like, the boy was baptized, and he was like, "Ah!"
I don't know.
I'm melting.
I
I'm
don't know.
melting.
I don't know, man.
And there was no like sizzling of the skin or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't know. But the girl, she thrived. She eventually learned how to speak English, and they asked her like sometime later, like, "Where are you from? How are you here?
Right.
Why were you green?" She told them that they came from the land of Saint Martin.
St. Martin's Land.
Yes.
Because I've been to St. Martin.
Oh yeah.
St. Martin is in the Caribbean. It's really nice.
Okay.
It's a nice
I don't
place
think
to
they
stay.
were
I don't think
from
this is the
there.
same
Yeah.
place.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think it's the same place, and there's nobody green there.
Where they were from, there's no sun, but like perpetual twilight. So it's almost like the sun has gone down, sort of. So like
Right.
it's not super bright or anything like that.
Like-
Moonlight.
Like dusk kind of a thing.
And then all the inhabitants, everybody that lives there, and then everything that they have there is green, just like them. Okay. She did describe that there was a luminous land nearby. It was across a river that separated their land from this other one. And the reason that they're in that area is she was out with her brother. They were looking after their father's flock, and they came upon a cave. There are some reports that they heard some bells, and that made them disoriented. And they went through the cave, and when they came out, they ended up there. There was also they followed the herd into the cave, and then became disoriented. But basically, they heard bells, and it led them out. But when they emerged from the cavern, they did so in Woolpit rather than where they were from.
But they also emerged in a wolf pit,
Yeah.
which is very strange to, like, all of a sudden appear in
Right.
a pit trap.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That
If I'm understanding the story right, they were found in
in an actual pit.
Yeah,
A
in
pit.
the pit.
So there couldn't have been any like spikes sticking up around like that. It was
True.
just a pit.
I mean, they could have been spikes, but they were just not impaled upon them.
True
They were just
story.
standing there around them.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
There were some other reports that when they came out of the cave, they passed out or they weren't really knowing what they were doing, and then they ended up at the pits. So
See, I could actually see that they came out and they didn't really know what was happening.
Right.
And fell in the pit.
And then fell to the pit. Yeah. So if there was a pit
Yeah.
next to
It
the
had
cave.
no spikes.
Right.
It was
Correct.
just trap the wolf, and then the
Right.
the reapers will take care of that.
That's an awesome title of a name. I so want that
Don't
title.
fail the reaper.
Yeah.
they had tried to find the entrance to the cave, but it was not there anymore. So like they couldn't go back.
Okay.
Yeah. And that is when they were found by the reapers. So
We're flying around sucking the souls and memories out of people.
Now as you mentioned, the brother he died, but the sister
She flourished.
she flourished. So technically, you should be able to trace her lineage,
yeah.
and they have traced it because she grew up, got married.
Yep.
And I guess nobody bothered her again.
Are you the great grandson of the
I
Green Girl?
wish that I could go back to the Twilight,
That's what I'm saying.
not the movie.
Oh, with the glittery people.
Glittery vampires,
Right. Yeah, no.
They don't
No.
exist. Yeah.
Maybe that's Dave.
See, you're saying he's a glittery vampire?
Well, no, but his great whatever grandparents are the reptilian overlords of the Hollow Earth, where the kids came from.
You know what's funny? Like listening to this story, and this happened in what?
The 12th century.
Yeah, it was like
century.
1134 or
1100s,
something
yeah.
like
So
that.
this story's been passed down for a long time.
Yeah.
I did find it very fascinating, and we'll get to this, but an astronomer.
Who? What?
Astronomer? Why can't I talk right now? My tongue's just like
Thank you
away.
to Hams and Mooduk for that.
Yeah. Brought to you by Blue Duck Brewery.
That's right.
It'll make your tongue get in the way of forming proper words. Duncan Lunin in 1996 had a whole theory about these kids. So this story is still coming up in today's culture and theories, which is super fascinating.
Yeah.
It could be just chalked up to a grim fairy tale. Like, nobody's talking about grim fairy tales like, okay, science-based, here's what I think.
Right.
But this particular story, Duncan Lunin wrote a whole book, and he has a whole theory about aliens, where they come from.
Okay.
Super cool. We'll get there, but let's just get back a little bit. Liz, since you told us all about that, what do you think are the possibilities?
Well, there's a couple possible explanations, like medical explanations.
Okay.
The children possibly were suffering from hypochromic anemia,
I doubt it.
which originally was known as
Okay, Dr. Nash.
chlorosis. Okay.
All right, I have the definition. Do you have the definition?
Go ahead.
Just for everybody here.
Yeah.
Chlorosis. Why are you laughing, bro?
He just said that like it was a bedtime story. You know.
Snuggle in.
That's right.
Yeah.
Anemia caused by iron deficiency, especially in adolescent girls, causing a pale, faintly greenish complexion.
Yeah.
It was a common diagnosis in the 19th century.
Yeah,
which,
it's caused by a very poor diet. And there's a lot of people that think that this is actually what happened because, once the girl started eating a bunch of regular food, she went to a normal color again.
But this is clearly not what happened.
now, I came across this tidbit. This chlorosis, this greenish skin tint, was common in virgins. And this 19th century doctor, do you know what his cure was?
Oh, God.
Sexing up.
Yes, Nash.
Okay. Brown chicken, brown cow.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
That's going to be, I could be Dr. Nash.
That was modern science at the time.
That's going to be my answer for all ailments. Come on over to Dr. Nash's house
No, don't do that.
and bring your swimsuit.
It sounds like a horror movie in the making.
Yeah, exactly.
The second possible, which I am not leaning towards, is arsenic poisoning.
Okay.
Obviously, you vomit, you have
Right.
diarrhea, all that kind of
It's
stuff.
bad.
But I think another side effect is you get these green, rash dots on you. And so that's why they were like, maybe it wasn't like their whole skin was green. It was just like a rash.
So greenish.
Greenish, yeah.
Okay.
And arsenic.
Yes. Which I
Which-
feel like it's got to be fatal, right?
Yeah.
Right?
So,
Yeah, nobody lives when they think
yeah.
a bunch of
I
arsenic.
mean, the boy died,
Yeah.
but
But that would be more of an immediate thing and
Right.
not
Well,
like
you
a...
remember that movie, The Sixth Sense?
Yeah.
Weren't they slowly poisoning?
She
that
was.
one?
yeah, but
she
I don't-
was.
Was it
Like-
arsenic though?
Well, that would.
No, it was bleach.
Right?
I
Yeah,
thought
it
she
was
was putting-
bleach.
it was bleach she was
Yeah.
putting in there. Arsenic, I think, is pretty quick.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not a happy time thing.
No.
No. It's a quick, you're done.
Well, apparently not, because you can walk around with green dots on your face.
Well, you're probably, okay.
I mean, it might be a couple hours, depending on how much poisoning you.
Right.
That's what I was trying to
Yeah.
reference. Would slow doses?
Yeah.
To stretch it out for a month or two.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know who was doing it.
I mean, one of the theories is I don't know if you've ever heard of babes in the wood. So people that maybe wanted to get rid of their kids or whatever, or there was a caretaker that wanted to get rid of the kids, they would take them out to the woods and either kill them or
Whoa.
just leave them out there
Or like
to
poison
die.
them and put them out there to die.
Yes, exactly.
So it's not a movie.
No.
On,
No.
on Cinemax.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
On 1987 Cinemax at 11 o'clock at night.
I have in quotes in my notes, "Babes in the Wood." So I don't know if that was like something that happened.
That was a name for like abandonment of your child
Yes.
back in the day.
But also, it
Basically.
sounds like sometimes they, rather than just abandonment, you're saying that they took them out and poisoned them?
to let them to die.
Well, just let them. Yeah, I guess. I don't
Jeez.
know.
That's
I don't
pretty
know.
rough.
Right? Yeah, because one of the variations, there was a caretaker of these kids, left them to die in the forest near where this town is.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
That's why we get stuff like Hansel and Gretel.
Exactly.
All the, not the same
Yeah.
area, but still the same horrific things going on that would inspire
right.
somebody to write a story.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people think this is more like a folk tale, taking from a lot of these different things. So, I mean, that could be a possibility as well. And then the last one that I have is that they could be aliens or
Okay.
inhabitants of a world beneath the earth.
I
That was me
agree.
clapping. Yeah, let's talk about
Okay,
it.
so I have of two more.
Oh, do it.
Okay.
And then we'll go back to
Wow,
that.
that was
Sorry.
that's fantastic.
Yeah, sorry.
I never get told that. So one is very close to what you had said.
Okay.
Because I looked up, I was like, okay, well they could be aliens. And I'm like, that's fantastic. Okay, so
Right.
so I did a little research and digging into UFO sightings in England, and I came across. There was a UFO sighting. Now, it was earlier than that, but it was in the year 1113.
Okay.
So it was about 20 years before this occurrence, which happened in like 1134,
That they
1135.
believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not sure on the date.
Yeah,
exactly.
so it's kind of in that ballpark.
Yeah.
And the what it said was that there were religious pilgrims in southwest England reported seeing a glowing fire belching quote unquote dragon emerge from the sea, flying into the air and disappearing into the sky. Now they didn't know what it was, but they chalked it up to a UFO sighting. So
At the time, they chalked it up to a dragon.
well, yes.
That's the only thing they could.
They
Right.
didn't think
Right.
about science fiction and UFOs, but that's what they said. But that would be backing what you had just said, Lisha, about UFOs. And then the only other theory that I think it could be, of course, is gamma radiation. Hello.
They're little hawks.
They're little hawks. You don't know. And they just calmed down and chilled out and they lost their
Could you
color.
imagine a whole civilization of hawks?
Of little hawks?
I mean, I don't think I saw any reports of them being like super strength or anything
That's
like
because
that.
you didn't dig.
No,
as
I didn't.
far
That's because nobody made him
inside.
angry. They gave him
That's
beans.
they give him some beans.
Yeah, they were calmed
and
by the
everybody
beans.
knows that's how you calm a Hulk down is by giving them nachos with beans in it.
Yeah, farm
Yeah.
and Chianti. I'm glad you brought up the UFOs because I came across this. It might have been from Duncan Lunin,
Donuts.
but it says, this theory suggests that in the medieval times there might have been a mass alien abduction.
Yeah.
And also, hold on. For experimental purposes, just like we talked about with the Dulce base.
Wow.
Right.
And also with the knowledge and agreement of, I'll just read it as I have it
Okay.
typed here, terrestrial authorities. Terrestrial authorities.
In that time.
That time period's government.
Yeah.
So they had their own,
They're like,
the aliens were still working out a deal with the king.
right.
At the time, like, I'm going to scoop up a bunch of
Right.
your citizens. We're going to hook you up with some of this. I don't know what technology they were hooking up.
Who knows? They might not have even said that at all. They might have just said, hey, we're going to take a few. Who do you want us to take?
But it I could see the fact that it doesn't matter what time period it was. Like, alien, if this superior race or smarter race or whatever has the ability, they could have been doing alien abductions
Without any
in
consequences
medieval
at all.
times,
Yeah.
In the 70s and the 80s. It doesn't matter. They've been here all along, messing with us.
Well, and I even have something more to back what your thought is, Mark, because I was looking up UFO sightings in the UK, and they broke it down by century. Okay. So they basically broke it down to the highest number per century, and it basically boiled down to the 1 in 1113. The next century that they had the most in was the 13th century, and that was only 2 UFO sightings.
Okay.
Now, in the 20th century, now granted, there's a little bit better reporting, but we're talking like the 50s and whatnot.
Yeah.
There was 46 different sightings in the UK. And then the 21st century, so that's past 2000, there's only been 8.
Oh.
So, but we're still a little bit early. We're still in the early teens and whatnot. But so I think of per capita and the percentages. So we actually have more so far in the 21st century than the 20th century. But there were sightings far back as right around this time period. So I'm thinking that Lulu's agreeing with me back in the background there, that things could have been happening exactly to your point.
Yeah.
They could have been taking people and it just turned into legend, or I'm thinking what a fire belching dragon flying into the air and taking off would look like. It would look like some kind of a craft taking off and leaving.
You couldn't describe it at that time. Your mind would be so blown.
Right.
By seeing a craft lift up out of the water and shoot off in the sky.
Yeah.
You'd be like, oh my God, dragon.
The only thing it would look like that I could imagine at that time would be a dragon.
Well, I would like to just go back a little bit before we get on aliens and just throw this out there simply because, look, we talked about chlorosis. We talked about the fact that they spoke a different language.
Correct.
All right, so in that time period, not too far away, you had a lot of Flemish
Yep.
immigrants that came over. So they would speak
A different language.
If they had this chlorosis, their skin, they had that greenish hue. So it could have been just all this combination of these lost kids spoke a different language. Didn't know, and even describing, like, I'm not trying to make too many jokes about this, but they're talking about, like, it's always kind of dim. Like, isn't there a lot of cloud cover sometimes in England? Sometimes,
Well, I mean, it rains
sometimes
every
the
day,
sunshine's just not there.
Right.
Maybe these kids, sometimes kids make stuff up.
True.
I would like to get back to the UFOs, but just for the sake of argument, maybe they were just malnourished kids.
Can I throw out a couple other things?
Yeah.
Okay. So the fact that they couldn't find the entrance to the cave. Do you think maybe
they're not smart?
No. Do you think maybe they went through like a portal?
Oh my God!
From another dimension.
Here we go. We're done with what could possibly be
the lowest.
Story. We're going back.
We'll just say it's the lowest percentage chance is that these kids were from another country and not well.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Like they could have been Flemish. That's why they didn't speak the same language.
Yeah.
Malnourished, yada yada. Because Lish, you just hit on what Duncan Lunan was talking about, and I'm like, whoa, I like that concept.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, just the fact that they heard bells, so it was almost like a portal opened, and they were like, what is that noise coming from? Because they were talking about there was one video we were watching and they were talking about church bells.
That's what I was just going to say. Would it be like church bells?
Right.
Yes.
So like what if they heard church bells, they didn't know what that was, they were following it, went through the portal, didn't realize it, and came out at Woolpit.
It's like the land of the lost.
Right?
All right, so Duncan has a theory.
Okay.
That the Green Children were mistakenly transported to Earth.
Right.
Due to a malfunction in a matter transmitter. I guess that's like the
Star Trek.
The, Oh my God, it fell out of my head. Transporter.
Yeah.
Beam me up, Scotty.
Right.
That's
so
right.
they were trying to whatever planet they were on. They were beaming the kids up, and they screwed up and beamed them to Earth.
Could be.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's, I mean, if we're going to be talking about it, I feel like it's a possibility, I guess. If there's other dimensions out there.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That could be, I mean, we've always talked about other realms on the other side of the pudding skin.
Right.
You know, when it comes to
Pudding skin came back.
Get your pudding skin shirt.
yeah, get it,
Public deck,
yeah. That's right. That's right. Here we go with the pudding skin.
Yeah.
You know, we've always talked about the other side of that being more like ghosts or something spirit based and coming through as an orb or something like that.
Right.
Who's to say that that's not the only thing on the other side of that pudding skin?
Another dimension.
The other
completely
dimension,
fine with it.
and
Yeah, that's
not the
cool
only
idea.
other dimension that's there, because it would be kind of a multiverse. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's kind of
But again, I think we talked about this, or maybe in my dreams. But what we call ghosts. What if it is just the other dimension? It's
Right.
It's another alien race somehow crossing over. We just only see
we're seeing
this
it
much
through
of a
like
spectrum of it. So we just like, oh my god, it's a ghost, but it's not. It's a
Right.
little green girl.
Right.
yeah. And on this one, maybe that dimension, they were able to come through. They were more solid, more tangible, and they were able to come through and cross over into our realm and not be ghostly. But to your point, they're similar enough in their realities so that they would come over and they would just have green skin.
And then the last thing I want to bring up, the children's fondness for beans
Beans.
suggests another link with the other world, as beans were said to be the food of the dead. In Roman religion, the Lemuria is an annual festival in which people used offerings of beans to exorcise the evil ghosts of the dead from their homes.
So there was
Yeah.
We need to make some more baked beans.
No, I was gonna say. So
Yeah.
you tell there were zombies.
Oh, I'm putting this out there. And in ancient Greece, Rome, and Egypt, as well as medieval England, beans were believed to contain the souls of the dead.
Wow, that's rough.
Right?
That's really rough. I like beans.
I know we're gonna have beans on our tacos tonight.
Yep.
So you could be eating the souls of the dead from another dimension.
It's not so appealing when you say it like that.
And maybe when you have the extra
Is that why,
after the fact, that's them coming
is that
out.
Why you make refried beans?
Oh, to exercise the demons.
Exercise demons right out of the beans.
That's what happens to me when I eat the beans, and then it comes out later. I'm exercising the demons.
Oh, there's demons for sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it just was like a little interesting tidbit that I came across about the beans, being what is the food of the dead or whatever.
I had no idea that represented I didn't know that about other cultures.
I never heard that.
Huh? I never heard that either.
I had never heard it either, but I was like, interesting. That's what they were totally into at first.
It
So
was the beans.
yeah,
It was the beans.
just a thought.
Didn't you have a zombie theory, Nash?
Well, my theory had more to do with the caves. The caves themselves.
Just like in Kentucky?
Yeah, but just in the UK. So I actually dug up a bunch of information on I think it's the 10 or maybe, hold on, let me see my numbers here, 7 or 8 most famous caves in the UK.
Okay.
So as I was reading this, I'm thinking to myself, we've been talking a lot about UFOs. Mm-hmm. So I thought, what if it wasn't UFOs? What if it was Hollow Earth?
Ooh. Okay.
So that's kind of where I went, was from the inner Earth, because I'm thinking, okay, so they don't see the sun. Mm-hmm. It's always kind of like a twilight dusk thing. Okay.
Well, don't they have their? Maybe I'm thinking of the movie when they have their own sun. But
well, I don't know. That's just it. I don't know what it would be like in the Hollow Earth, because you wouldn't. Would you have a source of direct sunlight like the sun, or would it be more like the core of the Earth shining through, and then what you saw was it reflecting off of the inside wall?
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know.
So I got to thinking, okay, well, what are the cave systems like in the UK? And there was actually a cave system. I think it was the Childhurst Caves.
Okay.
In London, I think it was the Childhurst Caves.
Okay.
And in these caves, there's actually, what is it called? Not hieroglyphics. There's cave drawings and carvings in these caves that go back for hundreds and thousands of years.
Okay.
So maybe not thousands of years. That's kind of stretched, but So I'm thinking, linking up with this story, okay, so there could be, we've always talked about the Hollow Earth and ways to get to and from the Hollow Earth that we don't know, that they pop up in these rando places.
Right.
Why couldn't there be a Hollow Earth entrance in the UK? Why couldn't these kids, not necessarily, they're not reptilian, but could they be a hybrid?
Maybe.
Could they be a human hybrid, bred in conjunction with, this is definitely a bit of a complex thing because we're talking about aliens and inner Earth hybridizing humans to send out.
Right.
And then for some reason, somehow only these kids get out with a flock. Who knows? But I'm thinking Hollow Earth all the way because they came up through a cave. They were disoriented in the cave, and they couldn't re-find this cave. So that takes me... Go ahead.
I was going to say they couldn't find the entrance. They couldn't, go back.
Yeah, they couldn't go back. So I'm thinking, when they got into Woolpit, they were disoriented. They ended in some crazy wolf pit, and then all of a sudden they couldn't find their way back.
Right.
Which could happen to anybody on any mountain and anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Getting disoriented and getting lost. And these are little kids without any kind of compass or anything like that. Right. So how are they going to get back to the Hollow Earth? The cave is still there. They just couldn't find it.
So are you saying they weren't placed there? They went through it mistakenly.
They went through mistakenly. They were following their flock, and animals being animals, they kind of did their thing.
Okay.
And they followed it through. They heard some bells, and kids are curious. And they're like, well, what's that? We haven't heard that before. It's some kind of crazy bell. Yeah. Went through this cave to hear it and came out and were completely disoriented, still going to the bell.
Right.
And then kind of just lost their way.
Huh.
I mean, that's happened to, I don't know about you guys, but I remember back when I was a wee lad getting lost in a freaking grocery store.
Still do, man.
Yeah, I still do. That's right.
He gets lost on the pudding aisle.
Yeah, exactly. Like, wow. Every one of these goes to a different dimension. Right. But, not being able to find my mom in a grocery store.
Yeah.
So why couldn't these happen to these kids? It didn't say that their flock that they were following, once they went through the portal or the other side of the cave exit,
right?
I didn't really see much about the flock that they were with.
I don't think the flock went with them. I think the flock stayed behind. So
okay, so they went through on their own, and just got lost.
I'm sure the parents were, pissed off.
Yeah, distraught.
Yeah,
but they're kids; they can make more.
Yeah. Oh God.
Wow.
Whoa.
Why don't we take a break?
Nash just lost favor with all the listeners and Paranormal Adventures.
Doubtful. We'll be right back. And we're back. Lish, any final thoughts on the Green Children of Woolpit?
No, I feel like there might be a medical reason behind them being green. But it's so fun to think about them being aliens. They went through a portal or...
I think you're both completely way off base.
Okay.
There's no medical description of this at all. I think that they're either UFOs or from the Hollow Earth. The only expert we really have.
The Hollow Earth coming up through caves. I really like.
We've had so much coming up through caves from the Hollow Earth. Oh my gosh, come on! This just happened. It's not just a U.S. thing.
I mean, there's a reason that we're working on a board game called Escape from the Hollow Earth.
That's right.
I'm very fat. I already bought that domain, so don't try it.
But there's it's not just in the U.S. It's got to be all over the world.
Oh, it's literally they could get if you're in the Hollow Earth, you can exit anywhere all over the entire
world
planet.
That's right. And this is just one of those occurrences. I think that it can't be anything medical. There's nothing that would explain that. No, except for gamma radiation. I guess that could be medical. But then they'd be really angry and looking to break stuff, I guess, and jump long distances.
Maybe not every Hulk is angry. Maybe some Hulks are like, I'm pretty chill over here, just playing some music.
Right.
I like to play bass. Is my hobby.
Yeah.
Maybe some Hulks are like that.
Yeah, it could be, and maybe some are just looking for some beans. You just don't know. You just don't know. And the only expert we have on Hollow Earth isn't here to confirm or deny. So I take that as yes, they were from Hollow Earth in conjunction with
I would
UFOs.
love if the MCU would just had to give the Hulk like beans, raw beans, to calm him down.
What would a Hulk fart be?
Oh,
Oh my gosh!
It would be like total planet destruction.
yeah.
Oh wow! Yeah. I don't know. I think that there's more there. I just don't know what it is.
No, I'm really fascinated that people are still talking about it.
Yeah.
That this gentleman, his name just fell out of my head. That's because I closed my notes.
Yep.
The astronomer, he wrote a book on it. And so, if you want to learn more, he wrote a book. There's a lot of videos out there on the tubes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of information if you think this is kind of interesting and fascinating.
I feel like there's a lot of books
go check
out there.
it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of books.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
he wrote a book, too.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'll just bring my dang notes back up.
Yeah, I'm trying to look for it right here, and I'm really having a hard time.
I'm just getting my Google Docs here.
Richard, no, Ralph, no, King, Duncan Lunan. Right?
Eventually, I thought you would probably get his right name if you kept naming every...
every name that I see here. Yeah.
Yeah, Duncan Lunan. The name of the book was Children from the Sky.
See, I think he was half right. I think it is more from the Hollow Earth than from the sky.
Okay.
Because the aliens were there. There was a witness there to see something leaving much earlier than when this happened.
Well, if you're looking, like, even just think about this. Not even just the Green Children. If, what was that, the 19th century, you're on planet Earth, and up above you see all these stars and things like that. If you saw something completely strange, would you would just think it came from the heavens?
Well,
Right.
Would you think that? Well, no. I guess they could also be like came from hell, so it came from the center of the earth too. I don't know. I could see why a lot of people just could assume.
Well, you did say the 19th century.
Yeah.
This is like the 12th century.
Did I say the 19th century? Yeah, I meant the 12th.
Yeah, I was just like, you were way ahead of the game.
Yeah.
But yes, I agree. You only go to what you remember and what you know in your realm.
Mm-hmm.
So of that time was dragons, heaven, and hell.
Yeah.
That's what you knew. That's what was out there. So it had to be mythological or spiritual. That was really better.
So, yeah. So back then, they didn't talk about the Hollow Earth.
Right.
It was hell.
It was hell. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Little Hulk babies from hell.
Oh boy.
Tearing stuff up. Give them the beans.
I am fascinated by the idea that even in the 12th century, not the 19th, the 12th century, and the 19th century, aliens just keep coming down and snagging up human beings to do their experiments on. Like we're like this whole crop of...
We're a harvest.
Yeah.
That's right. That's exactly right. Who's to say Lucy back in the day was not an experiment? You know, the one that linked primate to humans in the coast of Africa, the basins of Africa. Lucy was the one who they just found the bones. That was the link between the two. Who's to say that she was a natural link? That she wasn't altered?
Okay.
Hey, that could have been doing it
They
for a
could
long
have been
time.
experimenting with us since the
Dawn of humankind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who
What
knows?
if we're actually their experiment from the very beginning?
That's why I like the idea, like the pyramids, like everybody had the mystery surrounding the pyramids, how they were built and all this. Like it could have just been like landing pads,
Yeah.
just like out of
Yeah.
Stargate.
and Predator versus Alien.
So 2 green kids have led us on this path. Now we're talking
That's what
about
I'm talking.
Stargate.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. See,
Man.
Hulk babies. I'm telling you, they do it every time.
That sounds like a fun little sitcom.
Hulk babies.
Hawk babies.
Oh boy.
And they're getting rid
Marvel
of.
would probably sue us if we made it. But
Yeah, maybe. But they like beans. You never know.
Hawk babies.
Hulk beanie babies. No. That's double sue. Yeah, no. Anyway.
That was fun. Cass, thanks for the topic idea. And again, from everyone at Paranormal Punchers, congratulations on your engagement.
Yes, congratulations.
We all wish you the best, absolute most awesomeness out of your marriage and life.
Definitely. Definitely.
And we'll probably see you next week. So.
Yep.
All right. We have, like I had said, we have a listener story from our friend, Sean Z.
Okay.
Liz has got this one.
Do you want me to do this one now?
Yeah, man. It's time for
All right.
listeners. I have no intro. It's time for listener stories. Sean Z.
All right. I lost my cousin to cancer back in June. Him and I always talked about paranormal stuff, UFOs mainly. He was big into aliens, but we had some cool conversations about haunted locations in Colorado where he lived. So the first part of the story is this. It was Father's Day of this past year, and our newborn was asleep in his car seat in a restaurant. We were out of the way of the normal foot traffic of the restaurant. The baby started to cry, and so Mommy picked him up. My other two young kiddos were coloring, but were on the other side of their mommy and far away from the car seat. Mom went to put the baby back in the seat as we were ready to leave, and when she looked down, she noticed a single green crayon just hanging out of the car seat. No other kids walked by the seat. If it fell out from somewhere, then we both missed it. But it was there nonetheless. A few days later, at home now, I was at work and the oldest kiddo was at school. The only ones home was mom, baby, and the middle child. Mom and baby went someplace and came back. Nothing in the car seat. It was 20 minutes later when Mom went to put him back into his seat to go somewhere else, and she found yet another green crayon in his car seat. The middle child was not even playing with the crayons that day. I really think it's a sign from him. His favorite color was green, and just the oddness out of both situations was amazing. So that's my story. I have a lot more. I will send you guys some more in the near future. Keep up the excellent podcast. Pudding skin and cheers, everyone.
What's up?
If it ain't strange, it's not worth checking out.
That's awesome.
Sean, first and foremost, my condolences for loss of your best friend.
Yes, very much so.
Thank you so much for sharing the story with us. Mm-hmm. And I hope that, maybe you do get some more signs from your friend.
Yeah.
That, maybe what we're experiencing right now, this is not the end.
Right.
And there is something
Right.
out there.
Something
now, shoot, just makes me think of stuff like, would you come back and leave me presents, Nash? I would not be opposed if all of a sudden there was a beer.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't think you get a choice in what those presents
Like I would,
are.
I just turn around, there'd be a beer in my seat. I'm like, this got to be Nash. I'd be okay with that. You can do that for me.
Okay, that's good to know.
I would do the same for you, friend.
Oh, thank you very much,
Sean, our friend. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. All right. We had a very interesting listener feedback from, they're anonymous, so I'm just going to refer to them as Scared in Ohio.
Oh.
But I thought this was an opportunity to bring in the awesome Rhonda Del Baccio to help out, because this was a situation that I certainly could not help.
Right.
So I'm going to read the letter here. So a few weeks ago, my 8-year-old, who recently has been getting into the paranormal herself, really wanted me to get out the Ouija board. Being the person that I am, I'm pretty excited to get started. So we get the board out and started with small, basic questions like, is anyone there? Well, after a few minutes, the planchette started going towards yes. And as soon as my daughter saw this, she freaked out and ran off. So I put it all away without closing the session.
Oh, no.
Little did I know this could have started something more. So after about a week, strange things started happening around my house. A few things started coming up missing. Money, keys, even some important documents, which I never really thought. I never really thought it was paranormal till a few days later. I had awoken from a nap and went to the bathroom, and while in there, I heard a little girl. Thinking it was my friend. Thinking it was a friend of one of my girls. I started talking to her for just for a couple minutes. Then I told her I'd be out in a minute, and I'll see what she needed. When I got out, though, no one was there. I had a small panic attack trying to find someone, but no one was home. So I called my wife, who informed me that no one has been there, and they're out shopping. So then I heard the voice again, but it was hard to make out everything. But anyways, my question for Rhonda is, could this have occurred from the Ouija session? And how can I make it stop? So I sent that to Rhonda.
Okay.
And she recorded an 18-minute voice message for Scared in Ohio to help him out. I'm going to play just a little bit of it but I'll make sure I post the link so everybody can hear the entirety, because it could help you if you're in the same situation. But as always, the awesome Rhonda.
Hey, this is your official psychic medium, Rhonda Del Baccio, answering a listener question, and I'm very happy to do this. It's important to me, and it's fun to help you with your paranormal issues. And so, as far as the spirit board question that we had, yes, it is very much likely and possible that the paranormal activity that's ramped up in the house has to do with the spirit board. It sounds, without knowing the name or location or anything, but it sounds like you don't have a serious issue at this moment, which is really good. I mean, things being moved or whatever happens, and the listener mentioned hearing a voice of a child, and so that's possible. That could be a dead child that is trapped or is kind of stuck in between. So, and then things were being taken or moved or whatever. Okay, so those kinds of things do happen, like in general, even without a spirit board having been used. Sometimes, all of us have had that experience of, I know I put this thing right here and it isn't here. And, sometimes a kid or someone else in the house moved it. Sometimes you were just not fully present and moved it and didn't realize it. But, yeah, there are times when things get borrowed. So, okay, so for that situation, if you're missing or whatever, I would say, hey, whoever borrowed this item, please bring it back. And set it right here, And then once the item comes back, say thank you. Hey, whoever borrowed that thing, thank you very much for putting it back. I appreciate you. So then, in other words, you're not being mean and nasty. Give me my stuff, but you're still asking for it to be back. So there's that piece. There's kind of three different pieces here.
I'll just stop it there. Rhonda, thank you. Now, Rhonda continues on to talk about, first off, warnings about messing with the Ouija board.
Right.
Explains how the Ouija board is like opening like a open call to anybody listening. So
right.
You don't know what you could possibly be messing with. Then she has advice on how to, cleanse the board, shut the board, a bunch of other things. I will post a link in the show notes. So if you've been messing with the Ouija board, or you're curious about that, go listen to it. Rhonda has a lot of great advice and information. I just couldn't play it on the show because it was kind of long, and it was also meant for Scared in Ohio. It was for him to fix his problem, so I didn't want to play the whole thing and make it about our show when it was for him.
Right.
But I did. We did message back and forth, and he said, I he followed her advice, but he said, I closed the session and tried to reach out to the little girl, and nothing's happened since. So he's good.
That's good, though. That's
Nothing
good news.
weird's going on.
Yeah.
But he also said that he kind of misses it now. I don't know if that's because it was just so weird that I don't know.
It was scary at first because it was unknown and new and weird, but it didn't seem really malicious or anything. But now it was somebody else to the family. Is some other being there? Yeah.
And if you want to know more about Rhonda, she was on episode 53 of our show. You can go to her website, also innerguidanceondemand.com. Now, I also threw this same question out to our friend Rana. Rana Lee, she was on episode 48, and she had some advice, which I shot to Scared in Ohio. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Rhonda and Rana, for helping out this person.
Oh, yeah.
And again, it's a personal matter to him, so I won't divulge too much, but it helped him a whole bunch.
Good.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
All right. How interesting is that? I, for one, have only messed with the Ouija board one time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'll ever do it again.
I've never.
You never? Nash?
Never.
I might have looked at it and seen it, but I don't remember ever like sitting down and actually trying to do it. Yeah, I don't. Never.
And if you listen to all of what Rhonda had to say, I'm like, yep, nope. I think I'll leave that alone.
That's a pass. That's a hard pass.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? This has been a fun episode. I love you guys. I love all the listeners. Anything else, Lish, before we close out before we close this session of our own little weird Ouija board?
No, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter. And what is it? paranormalpunchers@gmail.com. You can email us there.
Whoa. All of a sudden you're...
Nice. Nice. Bringing it home. Nice.
Listen,
That's what I usually do.
I
Look at
know.
you.
Wow.
Doing all the marketing over here.
Trying something new.
You rock. I love it. My friend.
I was going to basically talk about baked beans. Okay. I'm just saying, they're one of the best things in the whole wide world.
Yeah.
Keep eating your beans, everybody.
I'm bringing beans to our D&D campaign.
Okay.
I am so excited to finally be a dungeon master.
That's right.
And hopefully it's not a whole total party kill and you're all wiped out. But I'm super
From
excited.
other exorcisms that I might be performing as I'm eating the beans.
Right. I'm not optimistic about this, but
Maybe we'll update everybody on that. If you're
into that
kind of thing.
Right.
As always, this has been a blast. Thank you for your topic ideas. Keep sending them. We have so much more to get to.
That's right.
As Sean Z said, it'll take a year to get to his White House thing. So.
That's right.
And what did Sean say? If it's not strange,
it's not worth looking into.
and around here we say, if it's not weird,
It's not worth checking out.